Hey Emily, how are you doing? It's Miguel, your father. How are you doing? So it's the 24th of May and 2016, and I just got off of work, and I decided that I would make a video for you. Um, I just got back, and so this is how I look right after work. You know, it's better than working in a coal mine, let me tell you. Um, a lot of people have really hard and strenuous jobs, and they come back from work with bruises and injuries. And I'm thankful to have a desk job where I basically push a lot of paper around, fill out forms, things like that. So I wanted to mention that I got that issue with the DMV worked out, the Department of Motor Vehicles. I was able to get a nice 60-day a certificate that shows that I have sort of an extension of 60 days on my driver's license, which is good. I'm glad I got that worked out. Anyways, just some detail that you'll understand later after you learn to drive a car. I guess when you're 16 or 17 years old, depending on how things work out. So we'll see how that works out. But yeah, I got the DMV thing worked out faster than I thought it would. The DMV itself was practically empty. Usually it's packed with people. And so I felt really fortunate to basically just walk on in, grab a number, and then almost immediately be seen by someone. So that was really a breath of fresh air. I also wanted to mention how this morning I told you about some pens, some erasable pens that I really love. Those were those friction pens by Pilot, and those are fantastic pens. And in fact, this morning I went to Amazon.com and I bought some erasable markers by the same company. So I'm really excited about that. I'll be getting those markers in by Friday. Today's what, Tuesday? And so, it's going to take a couple days for them to arrive, but I've got some plans for them. That is, I've got some ideas for some artistic and creative projects that those markers could help me with. So, looking forward to that. Let's see. While I was at work today, I was on my lunch break. And while on my lunch break, I was reading some internet news. And there was an interesting article about children. And I haven't really necessarily wrapped my head around it yet. But there are trends of children and how 20 years ago, a lot of people got married right away after they left college, or actually that was more like 50 years ago, and then they were off on their own, living with their married partner or romantic partner, and they left their parents' homes. But that's not true today. A very large portion of young people today are living with their parents. And I know it's kind of a weird subject, but if you ever wanted to live with me, I would be happy to welcome you. This just doesn't stand for now, which probably isn't really relevant, but I'm talking about in the future. I'm talking about, when you're 18, 19 years old, when you're just getting your feet wet in the real world, when you're 20, when you're going to college, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, when you get up into those ages, maybe even 27 and 28 and 29, if you're like 27, 28, 29 and you need a place to stay or live, I can't predict the future, of course, but I can tell you that now I feel very willing to let you come on in, and you can definitely move in with me, whatever my living arrangements are, and you could save some money to buy a house or pay off your student loan debt or whatever it is. I mean, that arrangement sounds pretty agreeable to me. That's different than when I grew up. When I grew up, it was all about the nuclear family, and once kids reached aged 18, they would go off to college, and then after that, they'd get married and have kids, and they'd be all. I mean, I was on my own when I was age 18, and I couldn't wait to get out of the house. And I was so happy to be in college, and I didn't look back. But that's not to say that times were easy. Actually, times were quite hard. For many years, where I lived in very poor economic conditions, and I had a hard time paying my rent. I had to ask my dad for money some months. Sometimes I would get sick, so I couldn't work, and so I didn't have money to pay the rent. Well, anyway, I now I see that potentiality. I don't necessarily want you to go through the same thing I went through. So I want you to feel welcome to spend some time with me, living with me if you want, so that, and this is in the future. I mean, we're talking a decade from now or whatever. I just wanted to express my willingness to think about that option for you, that is living with me when you get older. And I'm talking about 22, 23, 24 years old. Things like 25, 26, 27 years old. I have a feeling that these trends will continue and that they will become more dramatic. I know that in countries like Italy, it's very common for children to live with their parents until age 30 and beyond. In the United States, that's not as common, but I see that becoming more common. And so I just wanted to let you know that I was open to it. Okay, so let's see. Any other ideas or points? Well, something else is going on tonight. I'm going to have dinner. And after dinner, I am going to drive to the Lompoc Library. I spent a lot of time there. And part of the reason I'm going is because they've got a presentation there. It's about slavery. And it's about, the period of time when in America, blacks were there was a lot of oppression, and they didn't have the human rights that they have now in this country. And it's a subject that's interesting to me. A lot of the reason is because I have an interest in pacifism. And that interest in pacifism mainly exists because, I was a Jehovah's Witness growing up, and Jehovah's Witnesses are pacifists. And in fact, the fact that I have 5 generations prior to me that were religious and pacifist, to me sort of is interesting to me, and it's something I want to explore and develop. And I think it's an admirable virtue, and I'd like to demonstrate it and express it. And anyway, also it's true because some of my heroes, like Albert Einstein, was a pacifist. Now, Einstein, of course, was a physicist, and so as a person who has a bachelor's degree in physics and an interest in physics, and as a person who is an admirer of Albert Einstein, that aspect of his philosophical outlook is something that interests me. And so I'm interested in exploring that. And so that's why in about an hour or so I'm going to go to the Lompoc Public Library and listen to this a lecture by some scholar about that time period. Anyway, hey, you know what? I just thought, if you ever want to go to see a presentation at the Lompoc Public Library, maybe it's this series about slavery in the United States, well, gosh, I'd be happy to take you. The lectures are only about an hour and a half long, but it's a mixture of lecture and watching a movie. We'll be viewing a movie that was published by the National Humanities Foundation. I forget what the exact name is, the NEH, National Endowment for Humanities. And it's a high-quality program done in the style of Ken Burns documentaries, if you know what I'm talking about. So if you don't, you'll eventually find out about it because it's a really popular documentary format. So anyway, I guess that's all I wanted to talk to you about. And again, I hope you're doing great on this Tuesday afternoon. And I hope you had a fantastic day at school. And, you know, it's getting to that point in time where spring break will start, or not spring break, but summer break will start. So I bet you're pretty excited, counting down the days to the end of the semester for you in your grade. So anyway, I'll talk to you later, and please know that I love you, and that well, and that I'm here for you. I'll talk to you later. Bye bye.